Lots of stuff going on. We're less than 2 months away for football. I posted football schedules already on the StatelineSportsHub.com.
Yeah, I'm starting to try to figure out where I'm going to be on Friday nights now.
Yeah, and we got they rotate the schedule too. Yeah. And today we're going to have Roy Sackmaster on. He's been nice enough. The East Monday Night Summer League is having their tournament, a pretty neat deal. And we get to talk to him about the new facility.
Right.
That allows them to do all that stuff.
Exactly.
So
that's a good thing.
You got a good mixture as a school, so you won't want to miss that.
Yeah.
And the one thing I've noticed, and I've noticed this on a lot of things, on Twitter, how you follow a lot of different people.
Right.
That the job of athletic director in any state, any town, anywhere is getting to be one and done sometimes for people. And we had like 3 just this week.
Yeah.
Named. Aquin named a new one. Mm-hmm. Jefferson named a new one. And Rockford Christian named a new one. And that's just this week.
Right.
So it's a tough job because you don't ever quit working in that job.
The way that has turned out to be, I'm not surprised there's high turnover there because it's hard work. It's really, really hard work between the scheduling and, trying
girls,
to get
boys.
both sides there, and you have to be at every event and trying to make sure you got people there to run the events and concessions and, all the conference changes now when you throw that kind of stuff on top of it.
And usually, when things go wrong, they're the little things.
Exactly.
They're not the big things. They're okay, but the little things are the ones that could hold up the big things.
Right.
And so everybody's calling the AD up. Mm-hmm. And then I wonder why I can't get a hold of them sometimes.
Yeah, because they're probably just like, that's one I don't have to talk to, so I'm not going to talk to.
Here we go. Here's at Rockford Christian. It's going to be Isaiah Johnson, the former assistant at East. He's the basketball coach at Rockford Christian. He's their new AD, as Ricardo Vieira said, I'm going back to Florida after 3 years.
Can't blame him for that necessarily.
Yeah, and there was a lot of stuff going on over there. Barron Jackson is at Freeport Aquin. He works for the Freeport rec department, so he's going to be doing both jobs.
Sure.
And they have really cleared house. They got a new boys basketball. Right. They got everything. Football,
it's a whole new
girls.
Program going there,
Yeah, it is tough at a small Catholic school because they're not very big anyway.
No, they're not at all.
Yeah, the multiplier doesn't hurt them at all.
Yeah, even with everything, they still stay in 1A usually.
Yeah, and Jefferson, Todd Zimmerman's gone. They replace him with Rockford University's Corey Eppinson. We got his bio on the StatelineSportsHub.com. So he's a Rockford native, but he was out east for a long time, came back. He's at Rockford University, coached golf for a while. So he's the new guy at Jefferson. Supposedly, he's supposed to start after the board approves it. It's in that process. He'll start like July 15th. So that's at least 3 guys. So
it may not be done for the summer.
I wouldn't be an AD.
Not anymore. No,
I know probably enough hassle sometimes, but I wouldn't be one because
I say we appreciate everything they do, but I'm glad that they're doing it, not us.
Yeah, we mentioned a couple weeks ago Dan Apino's gone.
Yeah,
he's not. He's a football coach.
AD, yeah.
And he mentioned
don't give the people at Auburn.
I think
he
mentioned in the Register Star story because we haven't talked to him lately that it just got to be too much.
Yeah.
I don't know you can do that nowadays.
No.
And stay sane.
Right. Well, and especially, when you're coaching a program, too, that's got to be tough, because you got
a big program.
Yeah. I mean, you got everything you're trying to do because we've talked about this many times. Even sports anymore, there's no off season. There might be a time when you're not playing games, but that doesn't mean you're not doing something, whether you're in the weight room or going to camps or whatever the case may be. So you're trying to run that all year round, and then on top of that, you got to be at a swim meet here on Tuesday night, and there's a volleyball game on Thursday, and then basketball on Friday. And
when you look at a sports schedule, there is not a season anymore.
No,
that is easy.
No, not at all.
You can sit back. Oh, I can't wait. It's winter. I can sit back. No,
not at all.
I don't care what size school you're at either.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And spring sports is probably the worst one because a lot of those are outside.
Well, and that's a tough way. Well, and then you got all the cancellations for that and everything.
And then like tournament, it was kind of weird how they did tournament this year.
Yeah.
Like Rockford Christian played like their whole state tournament like a week and a half almost.
Right. Well, when we had rain, it seemed like lasts a lot longer into the spring into summer there, where you couldn't get anything in.
So kids, if you're growing up and want to be an athletic director, don't.
or at least maybe aim to be one at the college level. Maybe not that that's necessarily easier work, but you get paid a lot more.
And you got a lot more people helping you.
Yeah, exactly.
Most schools have like one for each sport, an assistant and those type of things. But the ADs will like us today.
Yeah.
Because we are patting them on the back.
Oh, yeah. It's certainly appreciate, like I said, everything they do, respect everything they do. Just glad that they're doing it, not me.
And we'll talk a little bit about a situation that they're scrambling in Chicago. Hales Franciscan, who saved their school,
right,
is not going to have football. They decided not to have football, not enough players, so there's like 9 open dates.
Right.
And those are big schools. Those are not your little schools.
Yeah, I was going to say, those are probably some decent
They've
schools,
lost two in this division. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I was trying to fill open dates this time of the year.
Any time of the year anymore.
Any time of the year, but yeah, especially this time of the year when, like you said, you got the season in less than 2 months now.
And football's terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Unless you want to go travel and see the world.
And then sometimes we've had teams that have done that.
Yeah, it's a different world now in high school sports.
It
Back
really
in the old days, we just suit them up and throw them on the field, and everybody be happy.
Yeah, you didn't have to matter about who was playing who. You just went out there and played. And, of course, now it's size of school, public, private, and all that stuff. And
all kinds of rulings.
I know.
And someday, hopefully at the start of the school year, I've had one AD that said he'll come in and talk about the public and private matter.
Oh, good.
And he's from a public school.
Okay.
It's hard to get them guys to come in.
Yeah.
He might even come in and sit down here, and then
I like it.
Then somebody heard about it in a private school, so I'll come in and sit with him, and we'll talk together. I says, I don't know if I got enough security for that.
I think that'd be very interesting. I think I'd like to do that.
We need one of those beepers, don't we?
Well, we might need something, yeah.
Yeah.
Might have to sit them across from the table at least, so they'd have to at least work to reach each other.
Yeah, I've been following in North Carolina. They're trying, I told you they're boycotting a school, and it's a big school.
Yeah.
And that's taken on a whole new twist. Even the Athletic Association don't know what to do because they assign conferences down there every 2 years.
Right.
Can you imagine that, Matt?
Up there?
Yeah, we're going to get some rivalries, but you can only have them for 2 years.
Right.
And then we'll see you, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some of them that have to stick together, though. Well, they don't have to, but they just end up sticking together.
It's weird.
But
they said we'll play them in tournament. We have to play them in tournament, but we won't schedule them during the regular season.
So they don't get any regular season.
No, and North Carolina has a private association as well, but this school is more set for the public because it's big.
Right.
So you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
You can ask a coach, you can ask an AD, you can ask any administrator about the issue on the air. They will give you the political answer.
Exactly, but you talk to anybody behind the scenes.
Anybody, anywhere.
It is messy.
Yeah.
Even in this area, it is messy.
Yeah, and it's getting messier.
It is. As some of the private schools become more successful, and even as Boylan's taken a bit of a dip here, in some sports, not all sports, but in some sports, but I think those sports will bounce back. It's only set up to probably get even messier than it's been.
I had one school official tell me if everybody would just come out and be honest the way they were, we probably would solve some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do it politically.
I completely agree. If they could, of course, it really comes down to one thing, and that's the athletes. That's what it comes down to because and
they have no say in this stuff.
And but the publics don't like the privates because the privates are taking the public athletes.
Yeah,
and that's really what it comes down to.
And sometimes the public are taking the public's athletes.
Well, and that happens too, and that's a completely separate issue.
And in Chicago, they don't care.
Yeah, in Chicago, it just happens, But there has been some nasty splits in this area on a public level. So.
You heard what happened in Chicago this week? They had to pay that big pension thing.
Yeah.
So they got rid of a bunch of people.
Right.
You think they're going to check eligibility like they said they would this year?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh,
no, that's not going to happen.
Let's take a time out, and we'll be back. We got lots of stuff to talk about. Plus, we got Roy Sackman. I can't wait to talk basketball. That's 2 weeks in a row.
I love talking basketball.
Especially this tournament. It
yes.
sounds like a lot of fun. This? A new co-op is being formed in football, and it has a Rockford school in it.
Okay.
Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. You know where that's at?
Mm-mm.
They're in the Ken Rock building.
Okay.
And they got like 11 students this year, high school students, but they got 4 boys that want to play football. I did an interview with them. It's on StatelineSportsHub.com, and they're going to have to drive to do it. They're going to be with Warren.
Okay.
Warren has like 125 complete enrollment.
Sure.
And they're in the NUIC, and I had a nice talk with them. They're hoping to make their school bigger, so what they're doing is trying to do more programs. Warren is excited about it.
Sure.
But that's where the co-op thing is good.
Yeah.
If they want to drive to Warren to play, they're dedicated.
Exactly.
I've never been to Warren, but when you look on the map, it's on the other side of Freeport on the state line.
Yeah, it's a decent drive, that's for sure.
So, but a lot of things like that are happening. Our Lady of the Sacred Heart even made a logo for them. They don't even have a logo.
Yeah.
They're the Knights. And they did have cross country, and they got like 11 students. It's one of those, it's a privately school. It's not related to the diocese, but it is a Catholic education thing.
Sure.
They're at the Ken Rock building.
Sure.
I don't know if Ken Rock sold the building to them, and they run, if I remember right when I talked to them, they bought it, and then Ken Rock just leases it out from them now.
Sure.
But that's an old school, right? Ken Rock?
Oh, yeah.
So it's out there by the airport.
Yep.
And they're trying to get things going. I had a great talk with Louis, the principal and the president of the school. But that just shows you when Warren says, yeah, we'll take you.
Yeah.
But they had to go to Warren to find somebody.
But it's still a good thing, though. I'm surprised they would have to go that far. You'd think somebody would.
Like Pecatonica?
Right. Somebody a little bit closer.
But they said they went knocking on the doors.
Oh, I'm sure they did, yeah.
Because they want their kids to do that. And they said these kids play with the Junior Titan program.
Okay, yeah.
So they were disappointed that after they get, to high school, they can't play. Now, they got I think it's from K to 12.
Right.
So they've got kids starting to come in more. And you know how it is, some of the private schools took a hit with the money thing.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that.
But it's interesting. You ought to see how many co-ops there are in football. I'm surprised.
There's a ton in football. That's where you see most of the co-ops, honestly, is in football. Because a lot of sports, obviously, not basketball or baseball, that kind of stuff, but, your swimmings or your tennis, that kind of stuff. I mean, you could compete just if you have one or two individuals. I mean, obviously you won't win any team titles, but you can, enter the state tournament with just one individual playing at your school or whatever. So they don't necessarily need to call up that stuff. So it really is, football is where you see it the most, because you can't play with, obviously you can't play with 4 kids, but even if they had 12 or 13, you're not going to play football with 12 or 13 kids. You got to find somebody else to.
20's even tough anymore.
It is. It really is.
It doesn't take long for somebody to get banged up, and you got to throw a kid in that probably shouldn't be out there.
Right, exactly.
That's what happened to Pecatonica.
Yeah, well, you got a lot of kids usually that probably shouldn't be out there or shouldn't be where they're at, because you only have so many to choose from, so you end up with undersized linemen that are getting run over and that kind of stuff. So. That's where you see most of your co-ops is in football, but it's a good thing, though. We've always talked about it's always good when you can get a chance for athletes to get out there and play.
Even the Nick 10 has some co-ops.
It does, yeah.
The girls' golf for Rockford Schools has 4 schools involved in it, right? And Belvedere has, I think they got girls swimming. I know there's a swimming in there, boys volleyball, and there's one other one that they have. That's more of a financial thing.
Yeah, it is. It is, but but some of it's participation too. I'm sure, for Rockford, I'm sure they'd love to have enough, playing to split up the golf teams of all 4 teams. But you do what you can, and as they build up the programs, I'm sure they'll try to split those up again in the future. Or they hope to probably have enough athletes to be able to do that.
But you have to go through a process. If you go on the IHSA site, you have to fill out forms, and you got to get approval from your conference.
Right, it's not just one of those things where you call somebody up and say, "Hey, let's play together."
Hey, you want to do a co-op? Yeah, okay, sounds good.
Right.
And like we were talking as we ended the last segment, Hales Franciscan, well-known school. They went down in attendance because they thought they were going to close again. They graduated 9 kids off their football team. I mean, kids going to Division I, and everybody's going, okay, there we go.
Right.
There's another situation. Anyway, they decided to drop football. Hopefully they're going to bring it back next year. That's tough to do.
It is tough to do, and that's been a good program, too.
Great program.
Yeah, and in basketball, they're usually very competitive as well. So it's a very tough situation where you have to just drop a sport. I mean, like we were saying, especially this time of the year where all of a sudden now teams got open dates. You got 9 of them out there.
They get a forfeit. If they don't want to fill that schedule, they get a forfeit. But like Coach Ambrosio told us, you'd rather play.
Yeah, exactly. You'd much rather play. And we even had that a couple of years ago where, was it Jefferson that stopped for half the season there. And even those coaches, were kind of like, yeah, we'd rather almost be out there playing. And,
that's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, football, it's tough because obviously if you play, somebody runs the risk of getting hurt. But, if you don't play, you also run the risk of maybe getting hurt in the next game too, because it's such a feel game, and obviously it's a contact game. But you really got to stay in that rhythm and whatnot, and kind of stay used to getting hit because they just don't hit that much in practice and whatnot. So yeah, they'd much rather be out there working on things and playing. That's for sure.
So if you have an open date, if you're listening to us for football, check out the StatelineSportsHub.com. Check out the Hales Franciscan. You get the whole. That's got to be terrible dues for us.
Those got to be tough open dates to fill.
That's the whole season.
Right. Well, not only that, I imagine most of the teams they were playing were probably private.
Like Wheaton St. Francis, and it's Catholic Red Division, Chicago Catholic League.
You don't
want to play them.
Private schools are like those are going to have a lot harder time filling open dates than a public school.
I can see some out-of-state schools coming in.
Yeah.
Or, vice versa, them going to places.
That's probably a decent chance that happens.
Yeah.
The one thing I've never gotten an answer to, I guess, and, I've never seen this be a solution for anything, so maybe you can't do it, are they allowed to play somebody twice in a season?
Yeah.
So
and it counts too.
Yeah. So I mean, if they had to, they could always just play each other again.
Yeah, but they got to both have an open day that day.
That's true.
That's the problem because they all have different off weeks. So
that's true.
Now, if you schedule that ahead of time, you can do it that way. But and it counts because it came up with that league, the Metropolitan League, that took all those other Catholic schools.
Right.
It's got a nice mixture of schools and everything.
Right.
So, but I wouldn't want to have to schedule.
No, it'll be interesting. That's for sure.
And that's like that couple of schools that are not Illinois IHSA members, but they're sanctioned to play.
Right.
That's where they pick up games pretty.
Yeah.
That was a Cornerstone.
Yeah.
They're like a homeschool team.
Right.
And they will play some teams like that, and they're considered acceptable to play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what. Another thing, in AD, you got to almost have a lawyer to decipher all this stuff on what you're going to do. But good news for Our Lady of the Sacred Heart here in Rockford. Bad news if you're on the Hales Franciscan schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that one, ADs.
They said, we're going to try to co-op next year and restart the program. I thought, man, once you lose a football program, you better really have something because they have no sophomore or JV team in place.
Right, yeah, that's football is probably the toughest one to bring back out of them all because you need so many players, as we've said, you could resurrect a basketball program if you get the right player or two coming through. You can bounce back pretty quickly, or same with baseball. If you get the right couple of players, you can come back, or volleyball, or whatever the case may be. But football, it's more than just a couple guys you need, and it's tough when you just shut the whole thing down.
See, for Pecatonica, we knew they're going to have school. They're not going to close that school right away. Hales Franciscan, you got to make a choice to go there, and they've been last 5 years saying we're going to close if we don't get money.
Right.
I wouldn't sign up there either, I suppose.
Yeah, it'd be tough to commit there because you don't want to show up and then halfway through the year you don't have a school. And
there's been no word yet on if other sports are going to be affected there.
Right.
But they saved the school, but not the football program.
Yeah, well,
check it out.
It's it'll be interesting to see how much longer they can save the school then. Because let's face it, in most private schools, athletics are driving a lot of what they do, and if you don't have that,
ask Our Lady of the Sacred Heart.
Exactly.
StatelineSportsHub.com. You can check it out. Hales Franciscan saved the school, but lost their football team. Tribune broke the story yesterday about it. So.